I just had a question related to who is Donald Trump working for? Um, does anyone know? Who is Donald Trump working for? Um, because it seems like no matter which direction this country goes, things aren't. I mean, there's this thing that just has prices rising no matter which party they're part of. Um, I mean, I've seen it with both, and it's happening with this another party. So there's something significant with this. Um, that's what I would say. There's something very significant. Hello, one person here. Thanks for joining me. My question is who is Donald Trump working for? And I just wondered because with prices still consistently going higher, and so I was hoping that we could have a discussion about this. And I just wanted to ask that question. I mean, because I was kind of helping him out a little bit, because I know that he said that he was feeling censored. And, I'm not afraid to use his name at all. And I'm trying really hard not to say mean, degrading things. But at this point, I have no idea. I mean, he's actually... at least he's got the politicians, wondering what's going on. That's what I'm thinking. Hello. Hello, Glenn Colson. How are you? Hello. Do you have any thoughts on this question? I wanted to open the door up here for people to put in their opinion on who is Donald Trump working for, or do you have something else you want to talk about? I just wanted to throw this question out here for people. Good. Okay, good. What do you care to share where you are? You don't have to. I'm just asking. If you care to share where you're at, or a big, wide, country location, that's up to you. Until things get a little bit better, there's some negative things that take place with the internet, and so that's why I ask the questions. And some people say I talk in riddles too much, and I think that's strange that people say I talk in riddles. It's like I'm trying to talk cautiously. People who have been censored talk cautiously. And so, hello, Lola. Oh, I love the name. Love the name Lola. I love that name. And so, so if I'm not around, I know a lot of you have no idea probably even who I am. You're just joining me for the first time. Hopefully you'll become a subscriber. If you like some of the things I do, you can browse around over on my main channel and look at some of the things that I do. I do opinions. I have what is called brain rot. Brain rot, I love brain rot because brain rot facilitates opinion. So through humor, we can facilitate opinion through humor. Even though I don't get as much comments as what I'd like, I believe that brain rot is everything. Brain rot can be everything and nothing. If you want it to be nothing and don't want to participate, that's fine. But brain rot has been around for a long time, I believe. And so I'm hoping you guys will send me good thoughts. I need some good thoughts because I need to find a place to stay. I've been in transient location, and so I need a place to stay. So send me some good vibes that I'll find something that is suitable for me, because I am at that place right now. Well, I am an advocate for the invisible people that we have on YouTube. And that's invisible homeless people. And I'm in that situation myself today. And so there's another guy who is in the same situation in California. And so there's a great big movement on YouTube related to invisible people and what homelessness is. And he's a younger guy though. But the thing is, I am a huge supporter because of price, not of prices going up. No, I'm a supporter of the movement because so many people on YouTube actually are met with. I've been met with the same thing. You know, where people want to divide out like what type of homeless you are. I am tomorrow. I'm going to be street homeless again. It will be the third or fourth time within, yeah, or is it more than that? It might be more than that in the past 5 years. No, it's not the first time I've been homeless in my life. I was homeless after my first marriage too. And so, and I was homeless when, um, you know, when my first husband lost his job, I think he was pushed and forced out of it, and we moved with our kids. And I didn't even think of it at that time. And hello, Maria. Glenn Colson, hello. Lola, hello. And Maria, hello. And so it's not the first time that I've been homeless. And so that's why I want to talk about it because homeless people are very critically judged on the internet, and they're judged by pastors harshly and critically. And so the pastors utilize phrases from like Ronald Reagan and that homelessness is a choice, and it's not a choice. Homelessness is not a choice. I mean, right now, inflation, actually, if inflation and prices rising, I'm going to use both of them together. Someone told me, they suggested to me to use the word prices rising because that's a top popular trending word here on YouTube. So I'm going to include it with inflation so there's more context. So with prices rising of inflation, you know, and everything that's rising, there's something that's driving that force up. And I have to wonder if that is the lack of subsidies that is going from the government into the private sector. And so the private sector then just becomes a machine and raises prices on purpose because that's what they're doing, because they want to make a profit. They want to make their money back. But I don't know who they think they're going to make it back from, because us small people, that's what I'm going to call us small invisible people who are homeless, we don't have the money. We can't do it. So your investments are not actually in the people. The investments are going towards the corporations, not towards the people who need help. And so that is what's driving prices to go higher and causing homelessness, because of the fact that for decades they talked about smaller government. They wanted smaller government, smaller government. That's what they hollered about. Now they've got their smaller government. They've got their deregulation. That is the thing I'm hearing all over the place, is the deregulation that has taken place. So there's a big load, and this crosses both parties. This is not just a one party thing. This is both, any party you have. Right now we have two major parties. We have had smaller parties, and a lot of times they don't survive. A lot of people ask about the old days of the Tea Party and what happened to that. Wasn't there another one? Oh, they always come up with a third party and they never survive. And so there's two strong parties right now, and one of them's causing a lot of problems. You know, both of them are money parties. I don't like to ascribe to the fact, I don't like to ascribe to what some people do and say that the parties and our government is evil. I don't like to see it like that. I don't like to think of it like that. But if someone wants to word it like that to try to prompt something in someone else's brain, maybe that's what they're doing. They could be. If they want to say, okay, the government is evil. Well, when you're in the midst of shit, yeah, I get it. The government is evil. You know, we all have a right to our opinion. I've always said that. We all have a right to our opinion. And But our government is not any better than the people running it. And, a lot of the people running our government are people who started out with nothing. And I don't believe that all people in government who are politicians um, are millionaires. Hello. Okay, what happened here? I saw a little jump. I'm not sure what happened. And so that's why I'm asking the thing about Donald Trump, because now what I recognized, I know a lot of people don't like him, and for me right now, I'm kind of on the fence with Donald, because I know he's a billionaire, but sometimes I think I don't want to say anything negative about him to draw anything too, um, you know, too too negative about him. But sometimes I think that he just likes to talk himself up, that he talks a good game, and that's what he likes. That's how he won. He's good at buffaloing. I mean, Buffalo Don. Yeah, it could be Buffalo. Um, so, um, I mean, so right now I'm just thinking, well, um, I don't know. I know that George Bush, at the end of his presidency, well, he was with Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney passed away, I believe, today or yesterday. And that was kind of ironic because there was a guy who had on an orange cap. Hello, William Redmond. Hello, William Redmond. And so there was a guy who had on an orange cap, and he had on a hunting color type shirt, or either it was a shirt or it was a coat. And when I saw him, Dick Cheney had not passed away yet, but when I saw the guy, he was a young black guy, and he was wearing it, and which that in itself was kind of funny, because a lot of times black guys don't wear that, but he was wearing it proudly, his orange cap and his camouflage duck hunting color outfit. And when I saw him, I thought that's what I thought about was Dick Cheney. Um, I thought Dick Cheney, the orange hat. That was something that was so ridiculous. Dick Cheney went hunting, and he had a mishap where he accidentally hurt someone, not fatally, but he accidentally hurt his friend, and he was wearing the bright orange hunting cap. And I always thought, my gosh, that is so strange that Dick Cheney would have done that, with having that apparel of the bright orange cap. The bright orange cap. Redmond. Redmond reminds me of, is that the Paramount? Yeah, the Paramount thing. Yeah, the entertainment agency that traded hands between people. So, yeah, I hope eventually we do have a reversal of things. I know there's a lot of people betting right now on the direction, and I've listened to C-SPAN. So there's people who are betting against the internet right now. They're betting against it very hard. A lot of people are betting against the internet. So they're telling young men, I actually agree with this to a lot of degrees, because we need skilled laborers who have attended either maybe a college course or an apprenticeship. Now, the apprenticeship is something that, like, okay, when President Trump had his show, The Apprentice, it always reminded me of technical college. Because the apprenticeship, maybe that was his motivation in becoming president, because Donald always said, well, the things that he did, he just wanted to be like everybody else. And I always kind of had that understanding of him, but at the same time, I knew that he was this guy from New York City, and people talked about him, and he liked being talked about. That's the thing I kind of thought, was he liked being talked about. But he did complain all the time, too. He complains a lot. Donald, I have a big appreciation for the complaining that Donald does. Now, he calls it an opinion. He's kind of like me a little bit. He calls it an opinion. But we can call it complaining, feedback, whatever. And, it's like, well, we're supposed to be able to provide feedback. And we shouldn't be penalized for providing feedback. But yet there are still people who are penalizing for us for providing feedback. And so, but right now, for the most part, I've completely checked out of politics altogether. I'm not listening to any of the campaigns taking place. I don't have any projections on who I think would be running for president in the future, because after these past few elections, it's like, well, anything, right now, it's kind of like anything goes. You just don't know who the secret, um, oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Unspeculated person is. I guess that's the word I'm looking for. The secret person who could pop up and become president. Um, so, and I guess that comes with not watching the legacy media. And YouTube did something fascinating. Well, it's not YouTube doing it, but Disney's blaming YouTube for this. And so I got another thing that popped up this morning that said there was negotiations between Disney and Google, YouTube, the part that Disney wants to be a part of, which is YouTube. And so Disney is pretty much saying that YouTube censored them from the platform, which is not true. Google said specifically in the article that they didn't want to pay them as much as what they were demanding. And so it comes right back down to that Taylor Swift thing, where she said years and years and years ago that Google didn't pay her enough money. And so maybe she was just a little feeler or something back then, to try to see which direction YouTube was going and how much money Google would put into other companies. Because the thing I'm thinking now is that what I think about is the influencing campaign that Disney has done. See, they have Legacy Media TV, and they also have the internet. So they've actually had shows on the internet, which means that they have two platforms. So they have two platforms to elevate theirself and self-enrich theirself a lot more. Things that the rest of us don't have. And so I always had found that kind of fascinating, related to the legacy media TV stations, which is ABC, NBC, CBS. And then they broke themselves off into more than one channel, is what they did. They broke themselves off, and so then they had like other stations like MSNBC and CNBC, and I don't know how many more they had. I think that was about it. And so I don't know who owns the, and when you think about it, there is sort of a monopoly with CNBC. But the thing with YouTube, though, is that, so this disenfranchisement and misinformation campaign has taken place on the internet. A lot of misinformation. And so whoever was doing it, I have no idea who's doing it, and I'm not going to claim to know who was doing it. Some people say the government. Others say that it's foreign countries. I have no idea. But it kind of ruined things for those of us who had things that were going and that was good. Now, Google or YouTube did say in a video that I watched today, they said that there's going to be a way that if that people have lost their channels and were monetized in the past, they said they're going to find a way for them to make another account, and then they can get the monetization. They said they would look back at their history of the old channel and then apply that, and then maybe apply it that way to their newer channel. So they said for people who have been deleted, and I'm hoping they'll take into consideration my case, which was, it's a little bit different. I was not terminated, but I deleted my account because of harassment and doxing, and then things were bad in my marriage. And so someone was had started this campaign of people calling my house, like all the time. They were just calling and calling and calling, a bunch of scammers. And then people were coming to the house. And so that didn't make any sense to me, why that was happening or who was doing it, because there was a lot of them. And so the thing is that where I was at, they were coming to the house because of the fact, I don't know why. I mean, I had a lot of followers on YouTube, and then someone decided to dox me. And to me, it just felt evil. Just sheer evil is what it was. That's what I felt like. Um, and so I have to wonder if somebody knows who did it. Um, there had to be an organized element who was doing it. That's what I think. I mean, it was an organized, and so there's a lot of people who will say things like, well, oh my gosh, I hope you're not one of those people who actually believes in gang stalking. Well, no, there's another word for it. It's called doxing and swatting, and it comes out of the gaming communities. And what it is these young men, when they see that someone else has more followers than what they have, they get very, very angry. And so then they're mean to older people, or it doesn't, yeah, someone older than them. I mean, so if you have a 12-year-old who is really good on the internet, then they're prone to acting out and doing things. And so with that, I read another thing that said that Google is no longer going to allow kids below the age of 16 to live stream. So they are raising that age. They can still have their accounts, but they're not going to be able to live stream until they're 16 years old. And I think that's good for them to have a maturing type thing going on, so where they're just watching videos instead up to the age of 16, and they're not actually, now granted, that doesn't mean someone's not going to hack their, or some parent is not going to give them a phone and let them do something on YouTube. There's always that, but they're just not going to be able to have their own. And so, yeah. And so, what was the question I asked? I asked about what do you think about Donald Trump, or the direction of Donald Trump? And so, I mean, he's president already. And, I have no idea who's even running for elections today. I have no idea. I haven't seen anything at all related to my local elections. Today's voting day, and I have absolutely no idea related to local elections. And now someone else is, I've come across their channel from, I might be subscribed to them. And so they have said that they're trying to figure out what is real. Oh, it's one of the cop watch. I think it's one of the cop watch shows. They said they're trying to figure out what content is real and what content is not real. And so I think that there's probably going to be some wondering right now of, well, how do we connect with people with local. Now I know there was a push with local media or people, where they were saying that they wanted people to still watch them. But I always, I took it upon myself to say things when I was a younger YouTuber. I said, well, gosh, I am 20 miles away from the nearest media stations. So I'm local for the area that I'm living in. But then they went on this campaign to destroy me as a YouTuber when I was changing my channel. So I was changing my channel from something that was just a narrow niche to something that was more broad. And I thought, gosh, it would be kind of fun in the future to actually be able to maybe to interview a politician or just to give them a platform and let them talk and say what they want to say. Because I know a lot that I recognize this with the politicians. I recognize when they go on legacy media, they get censored. Donald is right about that. Without a doubt, he's 1,000% right on that. George Bush was censored. Every one of them is censored, and they take what they take what the politicians say and they take it out of context. Now, me, I would be the one who would run a 10-minute to 30-minute interview with a politician and just let them blab, or maybe I have some questions. I don't want to do a gotcha moment. I don't want to do any clips or clickbaiting because when we're running live like this, then the only thing we might have is a little stutter when it comes to the internet connectivity. But it's like I don't like that because I know for me, it didn't feel good when I was doxxed, and it's like I don't know, like why was I the unlucky one to be doxxed, and then this whole uh chain of events happened that pretty much destroyed my life. Now, there was a guy who actually told me, I was on his chat the other night, and he told me, he says, now, if you can prove all of this, what happened? I actually told him I thought he was an AI robot, and he laughed and thought that was funny. Now, he and I, there's been times we sort of didn't get along, then we did get along. We sort of didn't get along, then and so it's like the thing is, it's like I like him. He's about 10 years younger than me. I kind of like the man, but then there was times I thought, gosh, he makes it hard for me to like him. Why is he doing that? It's like I don't want a relationship with him, but he maybe that was it. He was looking for a relationship. And so anyway, I told him what had happened to me, and so he gave me his email, and I told him what happened. So I told him who I showed him what happened. He says, well, he says, oh, what was it he was talking about? There was a guy, Robbie Starbucks. They were talking about Robbie Starbucks in the halls of Congress, and so there was something happened to Robbie Starbucks. Now this guy was telling me about Robbie Starbucks, and he says, and then they were talking about almost the same thing that I was talking about the next day, and I'm like, this is really weird. It's like me and this other guy are talking about this, and now Congress is talking about this just shortly after he and I are talking about it, and how people are being censored. And so Congress knows that we are being censored. Conservatives are being censored. And so I've always said that related to, when you make a woman homeless and when you do something devastating to her, you take away her voice. When you take the internet away, you take away her voice. So she can't have an opinion. So, and that's the same thing like in marriage when, and death, so the ultimate end of life, when a man destroys a woman to the point of death, that's censorship of the woman. And I know censorship is too nice of a word for death. I mean, death is death. I mean, the person needs to be in prison forever. There's a lot of people who are not in prison that should be in prison. And so, but I think it's great for me to be able to recognize that there's YouTubers. And I mean, and the funny thing is, this guy is weird, but I like him. And it's like sometimes I like weird. And it's like he reminds me a little bit of myself, but I still think he's AI though. Because AI, he was telling me that AI can be an actual real, look like a real person. And so now one of the things that I was able to do, and he proved to me, he said, well, AI can write its own script, AI can do this, it can do that. So I opened up Grok and I asked Grok to write me a web page, and it did. It made a web page for me. Now it wasn't a real web page that was out on the internet, and so I decided I was going to try to see if I could copy and paste it onto a blog that I had, the source code, but it didn't work. The source code didn't work, so there must have been something in there preventing me from using that code. Maybe it was intellectual property of Elon Musk and Twitter, possibly. I don't know. And but it was just fascinating to see because this guy is everything he is telling me, and it's like I think he's AI. I think he's a goofy AI. I think that kind of is what he is a little goofy AI. So there's sometimes one of the things I've always noticed about myself is that sometimes there's people you're around them and you can be around them for quite some time, and it's like your acquaintances and you get along with them, but then then you realize, well, God, they're not so bad of a person, and maybe you start being friends with them. So it's kind of like things are awkward, and I find that with YouTube too. Things are awkward, and but eventually when you get to know a person and and you understand what they're talking about. I don't know, maybe he was frustrated because what he said was he used to work for Hollywood, and he said he hated Hollywood with a passion. He is an anti-Hollywood person, and he quit his job to be on the internet, and he lives in a huge, huge mansion. And I mean, he's lucky to be able to have a place to live. I wish I had a place like that to be able to live in, and feel secure. But I don't. And so that's why I have to always be an advocate for. I mean, I don't have to be, but I want to be. I always chose to be an advocate for homeless because of where I came from. So my roots are grounded in my life and the path of my life, and my I always remember the old man in California on the street, and he said he was a military veteran, and he had on a colorful quilt blanket on his legs. He was in a wheelchair, and he said he was in the military, and he asked me for some money, and I told him, I said, I've got kids. I said, I'm a military spouse. I don't have a lot of money. He just asked if I had some change, and I didn't. And I often thought if I would have had some change, I would have given it to him. The only thing I had was like a couple of pennies, and even back then that would have been an insult to give him pennies. But he was just asking for like 25 or 35 cents. But I put the last money that I had in the parking meter because we had parking meters back then. And I was just going in to buy a ball of thread to crochet. And I think that's back when a ball of crochet cotton was maybe about $1.25 or so. And a crochet hook because my daughter had stabbed the crochet hook into the carpet and she'd bent it. And it was and so I don't know why there's something significant about the guy. I think that's it. The homeless veteran, that's the significant thing that sticks out. So I remember the chain of sequence of what happened. So I was going into a Woolworth store, and the homeless man was out there in the wheelchair, and so he asked for the money, and I told him what I did. So then I go on inside of the store with my kids, and I get the ball of yarn. So I'm talking to this little old lady inside the store then. She's probably about 70 years old or so, I'd say. Maybe 70, maybe 80. And I was telling her, I said, I said, well, she just started talking to me about my kids. I think she was lonely, probably, like most older people are. So she was just browsing around the store. And so I told her I was looking for, she, she asked me about my kids. I remember that. And, so I talked to her a little bit, and we were talking a little bit about crocheting and stuff. And then I told her, I said, well, my daughter picked up my crochet hook, and I said, look how tiny it is. And she stabbed it into the carpet, and she bent it. And, and, and so I can't use it anymore. And so she says, she says, you want to be careful with that because she could stab it in her eye. And, I didn't think about that at the time. All I knew was that my daughter picked up my crochet hook and she stabbed it into the carpet. I didn't even know that she had picked up my crochet hook and stabbed it in the carpet. But it was like the only crochet hook that I had. And she stabbed it in the carpet, and then she pulled it up and she bent it. So she was pretty strong to bend it like that, because the metal crochet hooks, I mean, they were pretty strong. So she had a lot of power how old was she? I'm gonna say she was maybe 2.5 years old, maybe something like that. And so she had some strength in her to be able to pull the crochet hook like that, and bend it like that. And so I ended up, I don't remember, I think I saved it for a little bit and I tried to straighten it out, but it was so crooked. I think I took needle nose pliers to it and tried to straighten it out, but it didn't actually straighten the crochet hook out. And eventually I think I just threw it away. But then the great thing about but that was that story in California. This was back in, oh my goodness, 18, not 1800, 1984. That's why I went to the 84 was when it happened. 1984 was when it happened, in that era. 84 to 85, I think. I'd say it happened in 1984. And so that was kind of but I remember that. I remember that as though it happened yesterday. I just remember that as though it happened yesterday. And and the little old man that was out on the sidewalk, is like, I can't forget him out of my head. Um, and there's something significant about homeless and the homeless veterans, and inflation and prices rising in this country, and invisible people, and changing the dialogue to something more positive. Or that's what I'm trying to do myself, because I'm in some really, really shitty, hard circumstances right now, hanging on by a thread. I've been told some shitty things in the past 24 hours by my own family, um, by someone in my family. And so, um, which makes it a little bit harder for me, because it's like, I have no one to talk to. The only thing I have right now is YouTube. And so sometimes I feel like I am talking into a void. And I know there's people who don't like YouTube, don't like the internet. Um, that's something I'm always going to like. So that's just how it is. The internet's something I'm always going to like, because I always feel like the internet is the future. And I always felt that way from the beginning. I thought, this is really powerful. I wasn't even thinking about making money. And I know my first husband had told me that he knew a woman. She managed a message board. And so they were paying people way back in like 1992. They were paying people to manage message boards on the internet. So what he was telling me was that people were making money. They were literally making money off of the internet. And I know I was thinking that my daughter at one time had made some money at one point doing an internet job, which is gig work. When that website Cha Cha existed, she was answering questions. I always wanted to do it, but I never did it as good as she did. So I think she made a lot of money from it. I didn't. I tried to do it, but I think I don't know if I got in too late or what happened there. So, but I think it's kind of like any um, internet job, and I have to repeat this over and over again so other people understand it too. Well, they put some money into a technology company. The technology company is only, it's not sustainable to pay out for a long period of time. I don't know how Microsoft makes its money just off the advertising, I'm thinking. So Bill Gates, I don't think he has employees. The only employees he would have would be, I guess, would be the people who manage his website or put the Microsoft website together. Um, but the thing that I've seen with these websites is they come out with all these different apps. They come out with all these different websites. They put money into them. And so, and they did this with YouTube. Now, YouTube, I think, YouTube is sustainable, though. That's the thing, is YouTube is sustainable. TikTok, on the other hand, they're asking for donations. YouTube does let people ask for donations. They always have. They always called it a tip jar. At the beginning, they called it the tip jar, and there was people who said that they didn't like the idea of it being called a tip jar, but that's what it was called. There were some people who had put on their YouTube. Well, we could custom put on. We had the means at one point to have a custom label for donations, and people were literally using tip jar on YouTube when we could custom write in what we wanted to call it. It was kind of, it would be kind of like a playlist. Oh, that would be clever, though. Make a playlist and call it a tip jar, or tip something or another. The unconstitutional redistricting vote in California is a giant scam, and that the entire... Oh, I missed out on that. I was trying to read, but I missed out on it. And so, yeah. So, yeah, you could... I've used that before, tips on a playlist, So playlists are something that are a novel usage of organizing your videos and things like that, for people to be able to find them. So if you take and you make a big playlist, and somebody wants to just binge watch your content, I always thought that was kind of fun. Sometimes I watch my own content. I will binge watch my own content. And so something that's interesting, some of these people are saying they think the government shutdown is going to just keep going on forever. that the government's never going to open back up again. Election coverage. And so, yeah. So right now I don't have a whole lot on my mind. There's some things I'll talk about in the future once I get situated again. I hope it's easy, so send me some good thoughts that it's going to be easy to find a place. And I just wish I could go back to my house. That's really what I want. I want to go to my house where I was at. But it's kind of, another thing that I thought was kind of interesting. I talked to a woman this morning, and so we talked a little bit more about domestic violence. And I told her what had gone on in my life. She was a willing listener, and there's a lot of women who have been. They're not all, the women aren't crazy. It's like I've always said that You know, people in turmoil, if you hear them screaming, I mean, can't you just listen to the person? Or there's a reason they're frustrated. A person in turmoil, um, I don't know, something's going on. And so I've always said that, you know. I mean, it's no excuse to be mean to people. I mean, that's one thing I've always said too, is that, yeah, things are crappy and, you know, but now I'm back at, I don't even know what I'm back at. You know, I've never been in this situation as long as I have, and it's scary. And, but at least it's good. The thing I have to say before I close here, and I'm going to close here soon, is that it's kind of nice to hear our leaders, some of our elected leaders, say that prices are too high, because they actually will not go out on a limb. A lot of them won't. And it's good to have even if it's a minority leader, say it. You know, I was actually happy to hear Hakeem Jeffries say it, you know, that prices have gotten too high. And so there's only one entity that is doing that right now. The other entity is staying silent for some reason. But silence is not going to help them with votes. I mean, right now, legacy media is dead, and they're dealing with YouTube. So silence is not going to help them, any of the parties. And, you know, so they're also talking about getting rid of the filibuster rule too, whatever that means. The filibuster, I'm not even sure what the filibuster is or its purpose. The filibuster rule, I think, is where only one party decides policy or something like that. And now they're thinking about, so they can just put this filibuster rule in, and then it's like they purposely obstruct for a long period of time. And, you know, so I'm not, maybe that's another video I'll have to do, is have a discussion on the filibuster and the purpose of it and the meaning of it and why it's in place and why they do it. But it seems like obstruction, you know, to varying degrees related to the filibustering. And I don't know the purpose. You know, I don't know the purpose. It's like, well, maybe the purpose is kind of like the government shutdown. So the government itself has checks and balances where the military can't just go on strike. They just literally can't go on strike. That's my understanding. There's things about the military that could change, but I keep hearing that our country is a dinosaur and it likes things the old-fashioned way. And so, which means that, which means that things don't change. And so, yeah. So anyway, I think that's it for right now. And maybe I'll do one more video, and then I don't know when the next time is that I'll make a video. I do have quite a few scheduled that will be coming out, and I'm going to miss YouTube during this time. I always do. I miss it, and you know, the bad feelings that I feel is because of my situation. But I do, you know, when I was off of YouTube for that year and a half, 18 months. So when I deleted my YouTube channel in 2021, I deleted my channel, and I didn't even think about the monetization. I didn't even think about that maybe I'd want to come back onto YouTube and that I'd want to come back onto YouTube and start another channel, because my purpose was because of my situation. And that's why I hope that my situation will be included with what YouTube talks about with looking back at the previous YouTube channel. You know, so they said with some of them that were terminated, they were just terminated for some violations policies, and they said now they want to give them their channels back and remonetize them. And that's why I was hoping, well, gosh, maybe that could be a way for me, for the same thing for me, to get remonetized again, because my original channel was monetized. And so if they look at the policy and then they see, for the most part, I was a channel that, I mean, I had a good standing. It's just that I wasn't thinking at that time related to maybe wanting to come back on YouTube again and try the monetization process again. And, so, I mean, for me, things were very, very confusing, and I was in a lot of turmoil. I still am in turmoil, but the part right now is that I'm away from him, and things have calmed down to varying degrees. It's just that this other situation related to the economy now, and not being able to get into a stable living circumstances, that becomes another source of stress. And it's like, I never anticipated being at this age, being in this situation. And so the woman I talked to this morning, she was another one of the ladies who she says the same thing. And she says, my gosh, she says, usually judges give the wife the house. They usually give her a place to live. And so it seemed rather unusual when I think about it. That's what this lady was telling me. She says usually they give the wife a place to live in divorce. So she's lucky if that happened with her, that she got the house to live in. But not all wives. Oh, I didn't even mention, well, the husband doesn't keep the house either with the military. Neither the wife or the husband keeps the house. That's temporary. That's the military is always HUD housing. Always, always, always HUD housing. United States military is HUD housing beyond HUD housing beyond HUD housing. And so they live in it for free, as they should. And, I miss those days. I miss the days of feeling taken care of. And so that's why there's a lot of things that I speak out about, why I speak out about them. I want to change the narrative of what homeless is, what homeless looks like. And I'm in that situation my own self. I want people to think about homeless, the invisible people, in a more positive light, that not all people have done crimes that are homeless. Not all people are on, you know what? I'm going to go out here on a limb, and I'm going to say, let me read this. The unconstitutional redistricting vote in California is a giant scam, and that the entire process, in particular the voting machines. Oh, that was from Donald Trump, something about the voting machines. Hopefully I'll catch that again soon. And so, so the thing about homeless, I want to go out on a limb and say that the majority of people who are homeless have nothing to do with drugs. They have nothing to do with prison. And so, so that narrative has come from legacy media TV. Because it's like, well, when I look at my family, and my sons have been homeless, and they're not criminals. I've been homeless. I'm not a criminal. And so it's like the majority of people that I know in my life that have been homeless have not been criminals. So why is it that TV is always saying that people are criminals who are homeless? They've done something bad. I think that's the narrative that comes out of California. Wait, hello, Jericho, you came back. God, I'd love for him to show me who's boss. Plague of the Dead. Am I reading that right? Plague of the Dead, yes. Like if everyone was trans, everyone would be happy. You're just saying. Plague of the Dead. Yeah, hello, Jericho. Well, Jericho, I have some bad news for myself. I'm not going to have a place to live after tomorrow. And so I'm street homeless, unfortunately. And so keep some good thoughts for me, that I get a place to live soon. That it doesn't take me long to find a place where I can stay for an extended period of time. Um, because things are really hard right now. How am I? Well, I've been homeless. It's just that, okay, so the place where I'm staying at, kept asking for feedback. And so I provided feedback because they kept asking for it. So I provided feedback. And then the guy who's the manager, he's really confusing. And he said because I provided feedback and he didn't like it, he said that I needed to leave. And so I can no longer be at this place anymore because he just decided to say that I can't be here anymore. He doesn't want me here anymore. But I'll tell a little bit more in the future, when I get to a different place. Actually, I think what he did violates civil rights. I really do. I really, really do. I think what he did violates civil rights. They can't just kick you out. Can't the organization find you another I asked them to find me another accommodation, and they said they wouldn't. They said they didn't have any rooms that would be suitable for me. And so he just said no, he's not gonna put me in any place. They just kicked me out. Yeah, that wouldn't be tolerated in the UK. I know there's people who are already saying that it wouldn't be, it shouldn't be tolerated in the United States, and but unfortunately it is. Now I mean he did tell me that he says you've been at this place for over 3 years. You've paid your money on time. We've never had problems with you. You've just kind of kept to yourself. You've not been any problem at all. And and he says, why did you call up corporate? Why did you get a hold of corporate? And I said, well, you guys are always sending me this multitude. Basically, it's spam is what it amounts to. So some days I would get like three to six emails from them, and they always included sending feedback. And so the guy was mad. He told me, he says, but you contacted corporate. You didn't tell me. He says, you come out here and you get coffee every day. You could have told me. And I said, but the email was coming to me. Um, Jericho says, I think you will be okay. They will sort something out for you, my dear. I wish I could help. Oh, you think they will sort something out for me? I don't know. Um, I'm in the process of packing everything up to go in the morning because that's what he told me, is that I can't stay anymore. And so I guess I'm just leaving and not going to stay here anymore. I wish you were right that they would sort things out. Um, but and that I could stay. I mean, it's not a bad place, and it's like most of the people, it's like, there's other people here in the same situation I am. Exactly, that's the whole thing. Where else will I go? I don't have any other place to go. I'm just like I'm just like tens of thousands of other people in the United States. I honestly believe that I have no place to go. I become street homeless in the morning. I become street homeless. And so it's like, now if you're going to keep asking for feedback, and all of these transient locations do that. They ask for feedback. Can you get a motel? Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that the other motels, they're going to be more expensive. I wished I could have gotten into, I really would just like to leave the area, but I don't have any place to go to. And I don't want to drive by myself for a long, long distance. I do have a car, yes. Thankfully I have a car. I don't want to be living in the car because it's not a suitable living place to be living. So Tomorrow morning, I'm street homeless. And it's not the first time I've been street homeless. In the past 5 years, I've been street homeless at least 4 times, 4 to 5 different times. Um, come to the come to the UK to me. Me and you can drool over that guy, your ex-girlfriend. We can drool over that guy. Heck no. If I'm going to be with you, I'm going to drool all over you, not the guy. If I'm going to be with a guy like you, I'm sure you're a good-looking guy, right? So I'd rather not me and you drool over the guy, unless you're doing it just for being silly. Now, if you're doing it for being silly, then I get what you're saying. But I don't have the means to go to the UK. I don't have the means to go there. I really just want a safe place to live. And a place where I'm not met with a bunch of drama. And I really do want prices to go down lower. Um, and we have a lot of problems in the United States. Hello, Alina. Yes, Alina. Hello, Alina. Alina. Alina? Alina. I'm thinking that I used to have a relative named Alina, possibly. I'm not sure. Violetta or Maza Lorena. Oh, Lorena. Lorena. Oh, yeah, Lorena Bobbitt. Yeah, I love our military. I do. It's like, the majority of people are in hard situations, and I would love to join the military, actually. Well, just for being silly, but I do really like him. He's so fine with that big weapon he has. What a stud. Yeah, that big weapon. That big weapon of. Oh, let me think of a comeback. The big weapon of massive dependence. Oh, your real name is Alina. That's a pretty name. Yeah, the big weapon of mass dependage. So that's a form of depends, but we can call, it's going to get wrapped up into the depends, and where he's probably going to poop on himself in the future again, right? Because we were talking about this last night, me and some of the folks on chat here. We were talking about, we always have to talk about poop because poop emoji is popular. So that's the only reason we talk about poop. And so for a reality check, I like for us to remember that when we were born, we all pooped on ourselves. Every single human pooped on ourselves. So just tell me how much better he is, please. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. I can't tell you something that I don't have experience with. So you want me to tell you how the other guy is better than you? He's not. He's absolutely not. The other homeless guy I was listening to last night, the guy in California, I like him. I don't know what happened. I subscribed to him, and then I think I accidentally unsubscribed from him. But I hope I subscribed to him again. He was talking about, he calls it the man's hog. That's what he calls it. Him and his buddies call it the hog. Oh, I'm your favorite YouTuber? Why, thank you so much, Violetta Ormaza Lorena. Thank you. I appreciate that. And so they call it a hog. And so he said that what he said was, he says, all men's hogs are small. That's what he said. He said he is part of a group. Can you just say Violetta? Yes, I'll just say Violetta. Yeah, I can do that. I can call you Violetta. I didn't know if you wanted all your names pronounced for search engine optimization purposes. Sometimes I do that. I'll just pronounce the whole names because I'm thinking, well,
somebody has all these names in here, and I'm wondering, well, is it for search engine optimization purposes maybe or not? I don't know. So yes, I'll call you Violetta. That's a really pretty name too. And so these guys out of California, and they're talking about the W the a group that goes by, they call them Wiggers or something, like that starts with a W. And so what they're saying is that they discriminate. He said the W ones. Um, so yes, I saw the picture of him. I don't think he looks perfect. No, not really. Um, no, not really. I mean, he has cute little curly hair, I thought, if from what I remember. Why are they being mean to Carolyn? Now, I don't think there's such a thing as a perfect man. I mean, he's attractive. He's young and attractive. Now, they're talking about Carolyn Levitt. And they said that she has a 60-year-old husband and she's like 40 and her husband is 60. And and I'm thinking that's not too bad. She's 40 and he's 60. That's not too bad of a, hopefully things work out for them. And so, yeah, um, I don't know what a perfect man is. I did see the picture. Just pretend like he is way better. Cute little. You want me to pretend that I know he's way better? Okay, I'm pretending that I know he's way better. Because he made a fake package. Isn't that what he did? He made a fake package. He made himself out to be bigger than what he really is. Little cute bunny. And so, no, that's right. You said it was real and you said you've seen it before. I know. I know you said you saw it before and you said it's real, which I think is funny because the guy I was listening to last night, um, he actually said that he said that most men's hogs are tiny. Um, and so I think he would probably know if he's, been in gymnasiums and stuff like that and locker rooms with other men. I think he's right. I'm inclined. Well, okay. If you want to say it's real, it's real. I mean, yours is tiny, but this guy isn't. Okay, this guy isn't. Well, are you trying to rationalize that it's real in the sense of that you made a picture that looks real, and so that's what you're doing, if that's what you're doing, then it probably is real. His hog is real. I think that's funny. They call it a hog. It's so funny hearing the men on YouTube. It's like I'm not faulting any of them. At least they're not arguing. They're wanting to have real conversations, and I think that's great. I like lately hearing, and it's the young guys too. The young men want to have real conversation. And when I say young men, they're in their 40s. They're wanting to have real conversations, and it's kind of nice. Even the men who were in their 20s and 30s, they grow up and then they want to have real conversations, and it's kind of fun to watch the maturing process of people. Yeah, you guys can drag us old people down into your level too, and we'll play along with you. Oh my goodness, we will play along with you. That's the part that's funny. So when you get old people on the internet playing along with you, Yeah, we're gonna give you a runaround. That's for sure. We're gonna play with you. You can get old people to play with you on the internet, and I'm one of them. I'll play with you guys for a long time on the internet, and I have. Yours is tiny, but this guy isn't. Trust me. And so you think he's better? Wink, wink. I have a Violet says I have a baby kitten, a hamster. Sometimes my kitty eats the hamster. What? The kitty eats the hamster? Oh my goodness. The kitty eats the hamster. Um, no, well, Jericho, no, he's not better than you, Jericho. Um, but the hamster is still alive. Oh, interesting. How does so then the hamster runs down the cat's throat into the belly, and then there's like a hamster running around in the belly of the cat, and so you can see it bouncing around. So, hun, if he is better or what, come on, pretend. Okay, he's better. He is so much better than you are. The guy with the great big massive size hog, he is so much better than you are. Because he's got this massive size hog and he likes plowing it, right? You wanted me to pretend. I liked the pictures that came along with it. So but Violet has me thinking, though, of a video. I was thinking, gosh, wouldn't it be funny to make a video of a cat that has a transparent stomach that ate a hamster, and then the hamster is running around in the cat's belly, and then the cat is running around, and the hamster is inside the cat's belly, and we can see the hamster inside of the cat's belly running around as the cat's running around. When the hamster reaches the belly, the cat throws up the hamster. Oh, interesting. So the cat just swallowed the hamster whole. The hamster gets into the cat's belly, then it hacks it up and throws up the hamster. That's gross. That's that's disgusting. But the cat really does this all the time. So the cat doesn't chew the hamster, it just eats it whole, and then I guess well, does the cat actually throw up the hamster, or is the hamster just climbing out of the cat's esophagus? Tell you more. Okay, his hog is just massive in size. It stretches. It's like 6 feet tall. It's really, really huge. It's really, really huge. That's how big it is. Oh, the hamster is climbing out. Yeah, Jericho, he's so much better than you because he's bigger than you are. And so, was she right to leave for that, babe? No. I don't think she was right. No. I still don't. But you wanted me to play along with you, so I did. Does super chat cost money to send? Yeah, yes. Okay. A person has to have a credit card or debit card or PayPal and maybe a Cash App or some of those other options hooked up to the super chat to send. So yes, it does. As far as I know, that's how I understood it. That with the super chats, that they for me, um, because I have the option. I have like I think it's 40 bonus. I don't know how I got them, but there's like 40. I have 40 gems that I can send to someone, and I don't know where they came from, but they just showed up on my account. So I could send someone 40 gems to through YouTube. But then if I want to send more than that, I have to hook up a credit card or a debit card. So yes, it does cost money to send a super chat. And I've always made the analogy that that's a way to pay people specifically on YouTube and through YouTube and avoid Google. I'm too young to send super chats. Oh. I'm not. I don't think I have super chat on. I don't. I'm not eligible for anything right now. I think I did pass the one number, but I still have to get past the 4,000 watch hours or the 10 million views in 90 days. And so I have a ways to go. I have a long ways to go. Yeah, but I never liked the idea of asking people to send money. I didn't like that idea because I really liked advertising better, until PewDiePie ruined that for us. But I didn't realize that was the whole reason until I came back to YouTube. Then people were talking about that to me. It's almost like they just picked right back up and remembered where I left off. And then they started talking to me about the things that they knew I was interested in. And then what about super stickers? I I've never heard of super stickers before. All I knew about was the super chat. I thought this. Who do you love? Oh, Jericho, you love that guy. Um, so if super, I've never seen super stickers before. Now I know that the super chat, when I first saw it, it was affiliated with the legacy media channels. And so it seemed like it was a connection more with people who are part of a network, which I thought it was Disney. So a lot of the people who were utilizing the super chats, they had the fancy stickers. Now, this was at the time when YouTube had, well, I was beta testing something out. And so what I was beta testing was custom made emojis. So I had custom made emojis on my channel. And I'm not one to I'll say, okay, this is stupid, And so I was thinking, this is stupid because it's like, I'd prefer revenue. I don't want to be asking people for money as revenue. I don't like that idea. I'm not comfortable doing it. So I kind of felt like the direction that YouTube went was towards the nonprofits. And that's what I was thinking, that since the year 2020, it had me thinking, okay, YouTube has gone down this path of nonprofits and people asking for money. Maybe they had to do that because for me, I used to call myself a CEO. When you're a business of one, you are a CEO of your company. So you can be a CEO. It's just that the business of one, the CEOs of one right now are getting screwed big time in the United States. But yes, like well, no, you don't have to pay with those. Yes, those are stickers. You're absolutely right. They are stickers. We also have something else. We have another sticker. I can't put them. I can't even chat with you guys from my phone. And but on my videos, on my shorts, I actually have the ability to make a sticker. I can make a custom sticker. I'm hoping eventually that I will get custom stickers on my live streams. Now, I don't want to spam anybody, but I think custom stickers would be fun. Well, we do have. Oh, let me show you what this is. Ask a question. Um, hello. Let me do this. This is going to be a sticker. Okay. Okay, I just put a sticker up. Can you guys see that? I put up a hello sticker. Hello? Are you there? Oh, I can't edit it. Nope, I can't edit it. Do you guys see that? Okay, you put that picture of him on your wall, so every day I was up, I see him in all his glory. Yes, you guys see it. Okay, because when I posted this yesterday, I put a sticker up and I could not see the poll or my sticker. This is a sticker too. I could have done a different color. Um, so I couldn't see it on the desktop version. So we have two different versions. Put up another one. What should I have it say? I will put up another one. What do you want me to have it say? Oh, I know what I'm going to do. Start a Q&A. Is, uh, let's see. Should Jericho be jealous of GF new BF? Okay. Should Jericho be jealous of BF new GF's new BF? Okay. And so let me change the color. We'll put up a new sticker. We'll change the color here and we'll start a new poll. Any more pretending for me, hun? What do you want to pretend about? What would you like to pretend about? Should Jericho be jealous of GF new BF? Gosh, imagine these could be an advertisement too. We'll leave it up for a few minutes. So if someone paid me, if they wanted to advertise, so let's say there was a politician who wanted to advertise. So I could put an advertisement up here for a politician during political season. I could just so say the politician wanted to pay me $50 and I do a live stream talking about that politician for an hour and I put up the question they want me to ask people or to present to people. Gosh, this could be a whole new advertising genre for politicians, for people who are political. Defo jealous. The guy is winning. Do you have any mods? No, I do not have any mods. I don't need any mods right now. And that's something else. I don't like the idea of moderation. Um, I don't like moderation. And I think when I say that I don't like moderation, that's probably why I don't get as many people chatting, maybe. I don't know. But I don't have any moderators because I don't need any. Um, I like to go in the direction towards the First Amendment, but I also want people to be respectful to each other too. So I don't want people coming in and being degrading to each other using, well, there's people who argue for anti-Semitics, which is crazy. And it's like, okay, if you're trying to describe something about anti-Semitics, that's not being anti-Semitic. But yet the filters on YouTube sometimes will take down that content. And so it gets mistaken, So if I was doing a tutorial on what is anti-Semitism, it's likely that stuff could get taken down. And, so I just want people to be nice to each other. Who who do I love more, Jesus or my family? My family. I love my family more, even though right now my family makes it challenging for me, but I still love my family more. I always will love my family more. Hannah Montana ate a banana and someone threw a can of beans at her. Oh no! And Jesus. Yes, we can love Jesus too. We can love real Jesus and we can love pretend Jesus, Um, it's like I don't want to make that decision for people. Will you be as mean as possible to me? Well, Jericho, I don't like that Jesus died for us. The premise of the story, I like the premise of the story Well, no, I don't like the idea that Jesus died for us. I like the idea of, you know what, if I could change religion a little bit, yeah, Jesus died for me to live. Roast your PFP dopamine. You have a red PFP. You have a red PFP. I just don't like being mean to people, Jericho. Um, I don't even know what I would say. Um, because what PFP means, profile picture, Violetta. It means profile picture. PFP. I think that's what it means. I'm pretty sure PFP is profile picture. P for pro, F for file, P for picture. Yeah, profile picture. And so dopamine, he wants his PFP roasted. I don't know how to roast. Yeah, wilted rose. Oh, it's a wilted rose. Yeah. Well, there's a lot. Yeah, pro is a popular word. Profile. Oh, profiling. And that takes us right back to the FBI and the police. Profiling. 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 That's a popular word, profiling. My PFP, I think, is on the screen. It's a 10 and a star. Do you guys see that there? And it's got a little smiley face and a paper clip. I've been thinking about changing it to something else. Yeah, wilted rose. Yeah. Wilted rose. Is that me? Wilted rose? An old wilted rose. Yeah, that's something over the years that the star's back is being impaled. Yeah, being impaled. Oh, it is being impaled with a paper clip. A smiling cupcake? I could do a smiling cupcake. Absolutely, I could do a smiling cupcake. That would be kind of fun. Um, you don't have to go, Jericho. You can stay. You like people being mean to you. I get that. Like, Jericho, did someone make fun of you when you were younger, or were you in a bad relationship? Because I know I felt that way over the years, where I just expect people to be mean to me because of things that have happened in life. And um so it's almost like the relationship, and I don't want that. I don't want that. Yeah, broken heart and wilted rose. Yeah. Yeah, it just, when you need help and the help is not there to help you, you don't know what you're supposed to do. And so, but you don't have to go, Jericho. You want someone to be mean to you, though. You want someone to say nasty things to you, it sounds like. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say mean to you. Okay, let me see what I can come up with. How about your mother does push-ups in the strawberry patch wearing combat boots? Is that mean? Your mother does push-ups in the strawberry patch wearing combat boots. Or no, maybe I should do that to you, Jericho. Jericho, you walk around with lizards on your shoulders. Is that mean enough for you? Lizards on your shoulders. Okay, let me take this sticker down. Yeah, actually, come to think of it, I think that, wait a second here. Let me see. I think that I can put, yeah, I can. Oh, I can do this. Yeah, I can put hearts inside of my sticker. Just like that. So, I got hearts in there. Isn't that sort of cool? I didn't even think about that. I can just put stickers in there in my Q&A and just make a sticker like that. Okay. Well, I really rub it into you. He really rubs it in. Like, really rub it into you. Okay, I'm trying to think of, I don't even know what to say to be mean to you. Uh, yeah, that man's hog is so big that you could climb up the side of it and still not reach the top. How's that? Um, you look like a sissy. You look like a sissy. Um, Stop looking like you wear your mother's perfume. How about that? I'm almost sounding like I could be a drill sergeant, but I'd have to do worse, I think. I think I'd have to do worse than that. You smell like you want to be by yourself, Jericho. You smell like you want to be by yourself. Jericho, if you get any smarter, paper will have an IQ. How's that one? If you get any smarter, paper will have an IQ. That one's kind of funny when you think about it. If you get any smarter, paper will have an IQ. What else? Okay, I'm going to have to go right now. I've got a few things to, I can't believe I've been on here for an hour and a half, but I have been. So I've got to go right now. And so, if I don't do another live stream, you guys know what's going on. And so I'm out of being able to do things I need to do. So, but, so we'll see you guys the next time, whenever that is.